This is Jacob.
And this is Ted.
And this is
Six Pack Deep.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Let's go, baby. Cheers, mate.
Fucking cheers, cunt.
How you going?
Yeah, not bad.
Not
Why am I
bad.
doing that voice? I don't sound like that. Yeah, no, I'm good.
I don't know. Like, you look like someone that punches 40 darts a day, minimum.
I look like someone that gets punched 40 times in the face a day, minimum.
Overall. But no, it's...
Also, stop hitting me.
Don't tell me what to do.
Yeah.
I'm gonna beat you in the stump.
Cool, man. Sorry,
It's been a while since we've done this.
Yeah, it actually has.
Been about a month. Few things have changed, but, caught up.
Yeah,
I'm not.
We've
We've had a few drinks. And more than a few drinks, mate.
I was going to say, let's not fucking sell ourselves short. We're professionals here.
Okay, I'm pretty fucking cooked. But I think we've got some good stuff to talk through. And as usual, we'll probably just end up going off track and talking about shit. But first and foremost, Cobra Kai. I have not watched it. You're a big believer of it. I'm going to give you 2 minutes to sell me on Cobra Kai.
It's not for pussies.
You had 2 minutes. You only needed 5 seconds. That's impressive.
No, man.
If only your missus felt the same way.
She's dead now. She doesn't feel anything when it's in.
She died after the 6 second.
Nah, man. Cobra Kai. I was very surprised. It is extraordinarily self-referential and pokes a lot of fun at itself. It's produced by the two main characters, the main guys that did
Danny and Johnny, or
Danny and Johnny. Yeah.
So it's produced by the actors, not the actual directors, or.
Cool. It actually is. Is it John Zabek and?
I don't care.
Yeah.
I do like the fact that I showed you that whole thing about how Danny's the actual antagonist of the movie. Now he's a fucking bad guy, and he was like, "It's all true," but they go through it all in Cobra Kai.
Yeah, they do go through it play by play, but it gives you the other side of the story because you look at it from Johnny's side. He's literally he's trying his relationship for over a year has just fucking fallen apart.
And we've all been fucking 17 years old when relationships ended. You think the world's ending.
And someone comes in and they swoop in on your girl when you've just broken up.
And they beat you up.
They fucking physically assault you.
Yeah.
And
fuck Danny.
Fuck Danny, basically.
I'm going to start a petition. I'm not actually.
Do you want to fuck him? Let's all fuck him. That's fine.
I kind of want to fuck Danny. If he's got the headband on. But along with that, let's change it from 6 pack deep to just fuck Danny.
When you watch the show, for anyone listening, please tell me you don't want to punch Danny in the face because, my God, he wrote the role for himself, so that's great.
Yeah.
But it's just you can't say it's not a very punchable face.
I'll
very punchable face.
I'll watch it, and we'll come back to this. Now, something that we watched and laughed at. There were a few different videos.
Oh, it's not the midget porn again, is it?
No, I'm not showing my homemade clips anymore. I've learnt my lesson. But no, so for our people listening, before we do the podcast, we're just going to go, let's just look up a couple of things that we've seen over the past week or so, past 2 weeks, past 4 weeks in this one.
We're not going to touch base on our fucking 10 years of philosophy training.
Exactly. It's very recent. But the CIA recruiting video was got humans of CIA. I'm sorry, but what a fucking joke of a. It's got this chick there. Okay, I'm going to preface this. I don't care what skin color you are. I don't care what sex you are. I don't care what sexuality. I give no fucks about any of that. You're suitable for the role or you're not. But in this one, Australia goes to, I'm a person of color. I have some sort of borderline personality, so I've got anxiety.
Anxiety.
They've got all these mental issues, and but I was hired because I'm good at my job. At the same time, I was showing a fucking medal for diversity and inclusion. It's pick one.
Does anybody really care about inclusion and diversity when you're a national intelligence agency?
I do.
What
I do.
good?
I care that you're not hired for diversity and inclusion. You're hired because you're the best suited person for that role.
Well, you're fucking not a supporter of the CIA and anything that's progressive.
Apparently not. I want Australia to be safe, and I want America to be safe. Because America's our closest ally.
America keeps us safe.
Exactly.
Let's be real.
If America's gone, China's taken us over in no time. We're going to get to fucking China. I've got a few things to talk about with them. And as a Jew, I've got a few things to talk about with Palestine and Israel, the whole Israeli-Hamas.
There's no controversy in Israel.
Oh, there's no controversy in Israel, but there's plenty of controversy in Palestine. They're not giving back their land to us, which we don't. But yeah,
Look,
another time.
can you just understand that Israel shouldn't be a state? Can you just take a step back and look at the greater picture where, Palestine's in the right?
Pauline Hanson, please explain.
I said Palestine, Pauline Hanson.
Palestine, please explain.
And if we had the rights to the Pulling Pants Down song, we would play it, but we don't because we're poor, and that's fine.
Very poor. We're going to be a bit richer soon because we
Like
get
it.
new jobs.
Like and subscribe, please. God, please like and subscribe.
Another thing I'd like to clear the air of, we've gotten some feedback. We sound very right wing, and we talked about this, and I said no, let's not go too much further because I want to talk about. I think Jacob does as well. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
We're not fucking right wing.
We do the Nazi salute. You can't hear that.
Only every night before bed. But no, I'm virtually this politically on the political spectrum. I'm pretty much at the exact same spot that I was 7 years ago, where I used to go to protests about gay rights and climate change. That hasn't changed.
Have you ever done I can't remember off the top of my head what the test is, but the actual
Where do you fall on the political spectrum?
Yeah,
It's like the 4 different squares. You got the X and Y axes.
that's it. Yeah, have you done that?
I have done that, and I ended up just ever so slightly lower and right of center, ever 2 squares.
That's pretty much where I am.
Yeah.
First time I did it, I pretty much do it every year. I'm just like, oh, let's cross my.
Let's see if I've changed because people change.
Exactly. I've always come up as left, except I did do it. Not left. I've actually always come up pretty close to the center, but I did it this year, and yeah, it was actually a couple of squares to the right.
It'll fluctuate. Some years I'll be to the left, some years I'll be to the right.
It's a good thing to keep doing.
But what I've found, most of my beliefs haven't really changed. Now, a couple of, important factors in today's kind of political, social climate, I've kind of switched positions on. And I'm going back to about 7 years ago, 8 years ago now. So fresh out of high school and everything, living by myself, new town and everything. But I was all like, oh, these poor Aboriginals in Australia, African Americans in America, people of colour. They're being hard done by all the police. And now I kind of look at it, they're being hard done by, but the statistics actually show that they're not really being hard done by as much. You're more likely to survive a police encounter if you're, at least in Australia, I don't have the stats for African Americans. I think it's actually quite similar. I could be mistaken, so I'm happy to be corrected.
No, I believe in the US, this is anecdotal because this is what I'm remembering from older reports. Police encounters with black people, the amount of violent encounters or deaths, God forbid, they're either on par or a little bit lower than with Caucasian people, which, I mean, obviously, there is discrimination in America.
Yeah,
police force absolutely fucking is.
But I think when you break it down to per capita, there's not too much of a difference. I think there's a slight discrepancy, but at the same time, and look, I'm going to be called racist for saying it. It's not a racist fucking remark. African Americans are committing a bit more crime.
They are, and
Yeah.
that's not.
So obviously they're going to be disproportionate. There are lower percentages of the population. They're going to be disproportionately shown in criminal activity.
And we're not talking about like some kind of genetic disposition. It's nothing like that. That's
It's
absurd.
got nothing to do with
It's
genetics.
a socio-economic thing.
It's not a race. It's not a racist issue. It's not a genetic issue. It's a cultural issue.
It is absolutely a cultural issue.
Because, and I was talking to one of my mates at work, John.
Yeah.
So he's a Filipino guy. He's going to be joining us in one of our new podcasts.
Unless the police shoot him first.
Unless we shoot him. But so when he first arrived to Australia, he lived in Alice Springs for a number of years.
Which I didn't even know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I grew up in Kempsey, which is a large Aboriginal populated town. There are things that we've both seen. The Aboriginal kids are just less likely to be going to school, or especially at higher education, so year 11, year 12, even TAFE. Or I think it's TAFE down in Victoria, it could be a bit different. And that's not as racist, it's not a governmentally institutionalized thing. The government's actually saying, we want you to go to school. We're actually going to help. We're going to give you and your family some support financially to help you go to school. It's a cultural thing. They're not going because their brothers didn't go, their cousins didn't go, their mum, dad, their family and their community didn't see the value in high school. They weren't able to go to high school. Like, I'm not going to deny it. The past generations weren't able to get a proper education.
We're a young country.
Very young.
Change is not going to happen from like a bill or an idea that's just been put forward. You're not going to see a change next year. Change is generational.
Yeah.
You're not going to experience that unless you've actually given it.
In saying that, one of the most influential people in my lives, I was seeing my next door neighbour. We ended up having a house built in between us. Small town, so it happens. He was Aboriginal. He was a nurse, not a doctor. He was a nurse in his 40s to mid-40s to sort of mid-50s. I don't know his exact age.
That's a whole Aboriginal male, female nurses. Like, there's fucking plenty of.
But I mean,
nurses.
and this is when I was, sort of 12 to 18. So obviously, if he was that age then, he's a bit older now, but he grew up through some shit.
No doubt.
And his main focus was his kids were either you're going to school or you're working. And
that's a good aesthetic to have for.
And I'd stay at their place sometimes once a week, sometimes more, sometimes less. But I was very close. They had kids around my age. I was very close. There were times where one of his sons, who was actually one of my best mates growing up, he managed to get. It was always like an apprenticeship, but not quite. There was a zoo. Well, sort of like a zoo, but not quite like one of those like rural town zoos.
Okay, so like native animals, that kind of thing.
Yeah. It's an hour away. Do you want to know what this guy did?
Oh, yeah.
He would get up early and he would drive his son and me. He'd take me with him. Just go, you're staying here, I'll take you with me, I'll drive you back and I'll take you home, I'll take you to school, depending on what the day is. Take him out to work. That's a 2-hour round trip. Just to make sure that his son is actually doing something with his life.
That's a good man.
And from a lot of the other families that were Aboriginal, I had friendships with them. I came from a town that was mostly Aboriginal. So that was an outlier, which sucked because for Caucasian families, not as much of an outlier. So I don't think it's a race. I think it's a societal, cultural thing.
I think so. It's just these, like, wrong or right, African Americans and Aboriginal people were subjugated. They were
fucked.
Extremely disadvantaged position.
I think, I'm not religious at all. I'm not religious. But I thank God, Allah, but you fucking name it, I thank them. I was not a fucking Aboriginal in the fucking 60s or 70s or even earlier. Like the shit that they went through.
Like we're a very young country, and every country on earth is like it's bloodied. Every country has had conquest, being conquered. For such a young country, we're just so soaked in blood. Like, we really are. Like I am from Tasmania.
The bloodiest of histories.
There are no Tasmanian Aboriginals because they were exterminated, which is a very, very depressing word to use. But
there's another word to use. You mean genocided? Exterminated sounds more apt because they weren't even treated as a people.
Exactly right. That's exactly right.
And it's disgusting that it happened.
Do you know how many Aboriginal people I know in Tasmania? Have a guess.
Less than 10.
Zero.
You don't even know Aboriginals that have moved from mainland down to Tasmania.
Nope. And
they haven't walked along the Bass Strait when the seas got a bit lower. None of that.
No. Like, in all honesty, like there are Aboriginal people in Tasmania. Like I've known people that are genetically Aboriginal. Like
so they claim to be part of the Aboriginal race. And when I say I'm not saying it as they say they are, but they're not. But like, their mum was Aboriginal, their grandmother was Aboriginal, something like that. So they're not sort of full blooded.
Yeah, and I've known like I couldn't even tell you how many people I've known to have Aboriginal blood in them, but they are predominantly Caucasian, and that's fine. Like if
at least in appearance,
like
like the family that I was talking about, the dad, I think he was half Aboriginal, half white. He just looked white. He wasn't.
You've got the blood.
But then one of his sons, whiter than me, and we don't have videos. I'm fucking white. I'm Jewish white, like fucking Caulfield South. Let's go.
If you honestly, if you threw a sheet made of cocaine over a fucking polar bear,
it would get hoovered up by me. But,
yeah, what?
I've got the nose for it.
Wow.
But one of his kids, whiter than me. The other one, you look and go, he's Aboriginal. So sometimes you just can't tell.
You can't, but in Tasmania, like you've got who knows how many people actually have Aboriginal blood in them, and they are actually
If I had to take an estimate, I'd say what about?
So
5% of the population, 5 to 10% of the Tasmanian population would claim ownership to some form of Aboriginal heritage.
Probably, and
we'll look that up, and
we actually should talk about that.
I mean, you've already brought up polar bears in this one, which I said was going to be a recurring theme. I mean, polar bears and cocaine, sheets of cocaine, but polar bears nonetheless.
Honestly, you had me at polar bear. This is a very it might even be a controversial metric to talk about like appearance, but it's a bit of a relevant.
This is going to get dicey.
It's a little bit of a relevant gauge to note that in Tasmania, the actual physical appearance of Aboriginals is so close to non-existent that it might as well be non-existent. And I'm really trying to put that delicately.
So I'm going to say it's not as delicately, but people that don't actually know us and they're just listening to you found this online, I breed dogs. So I'm going to use sort of, you're breeding out certain traits.
Mate, you're fucked now.
I'm fucked. I'm getting cancelled. But is that kind of what you're saying? Like, the Aboriginal traits have kind of been bred out over generations because of more intermingling with more Anglo-Saxon, Caucasian.
I appreciate the analogy, and I think the analogy is really, really apt, and I think that's correct.
But I'm cancelled.
But like, some people are going to listen and they're going to think, "Oh, he's going to be Aboriginal," and that's it. But biology is biology, no matter if you're talking about humans, plants, whatever. Like, it's still biology. It's still, so it's not, but you know what?
Use your words.
Yes.
Yes. No.
Ultimately, you are completely correct.
I'm not the best description, but I am
It's
correct.
not. But like we're fucking animals. They're animals. Like
Yeah.
we are animals.
That's the thing. It's the same. It's the same. If you get a German Shepherd and
I would fucking love to get a German Shepherd. But
you get a German Shepherd and a Border Collie, and you breed them, and then you have those pups. You just keep breeding those pups with either German Shepherds or Border Collies. After a couple of generations, it's just going to be Border Collie or German Shepherd,
and it's going to be a trace.
There'll be a small trace. There'll be small little hints, but it won't be as prominent as it was after the first litter or the following litter. Like every litter becomes more and more diluted with the part that isn't really an aspect. So we're going to leave it there for a minute. Have a listen to this little intro, and we'll be back. If you like MMA, give us a listen to Six Pack Deep, the MMA show, with me, Ted. I'm going to be going through this week's UFC fights. I'll also be breaking down some other fights from Bellator, 1FC, and PFL, and any news that's kind of happening with some of the bigger names, even if they're not part of those promotions anymore. So once again, that was Six Pack Deep, the MMA show, with Ted.
I've got no idea what we're talking about.
Well, I think we're just talking about the MMA show with Ted, which is something that you've got no idea about. So we're two very different people in a lot of ways.
Look, I know how to spell MNA.
MDMA, I'm sure you know how to spell.
Not after I have a few.
But no, so we're just talking about, I think that's just identity politics, and more so an Australian's kind of view of it.
We're gonna go into American as well. It's gonna kind of go in and out because we do take so much of a lead off America.
I mean, that's changed. I think.
You think?
Sort of to mid 2000s, we kind of got a bit more from England.
Really?
Like we're still quite heavily influenced from America prior to that. But I think after sort of the mid 2000s, with us going into the Iraq War, Afghanistan, with America, culturally we've shifted even further away from the UK and more towards the US. Like you would almost say that we're almost a colony of the US in a way.
We are subservient to them by treaty.
Yeah,
that's a very good way to put it, actually.
And being subservient to them is kind of, for me, worrisome. Because and this is just me personally, I'm not having a go at the Democrats. I'm not having a go at Republicans. The only person I'm having a go at is Joe Biden. I don't have faith that you're fit to actually be in office.
100% I agree.
But I'm glad you're in office. It's not Kamala Harris. I'm throwing that out there. I do not trust her. You and me are of fighting age. If something goes on, we can get drafted. I don't trust her to really respond well to other leaders based on how she's dealing just with national issues such as the border crisis.
There's two big issues there, in my opinion. One is the presidency. Who's taking charge? Who's calling the shots? The other issue is national security, of course.
So when you say I'm going to jump in there, but when you say the presidency and who's calling the shots, do you think it's Biden or do you think it's Kamala? Do you think it's someone else?
I don't. This is baseless speculation.
I love it. This is going to make headlines all around the world now.
I don't think. Obviously Joe Biden isn't because he's not mentally cognizant, but it's
I agree.
Kamala Harris. Nobody actually wanted her to be in charge. So can you imagine? Can you imagine the engineering of putting somebody in power who wasn't elected? And can you imagine someone going through all of that effort to put in someone that they didn't really?
Honestly, that's really hard to comprehend. I understand where you're coming from, and I can see the logic behind it, but at the same time, she was just so wildly unpopular.
That's exactly right.
I think when the Democrat was the primaries started, she was in with a chance.
And
then Tulsi Gabbard just turned around and went, "Hey, Is this primed nuke? Fucking take it. And just fucking blow up the whole operation.
I don't know much about Tulsi Gabbard, but like I did see
Oh.
that interview, and it was just like you're blown out of water, and she was blown out of water, and suddenly she comes back to water after she's been fucking flopping on the dead.
Okay, so I'm gonna say a few things here. I know I'm kind of dominating the conversation, but
Go.
I'm saying a couple of things. First of all,
Speak your truth.
they want Kamala because she's a person of color.
Oh, 100%.
Second of all,
Diversity higher.
if you don't know much about Tulsi Gabbard,
Mm.
check her out. YouTube, Instagram.
She was
But
in the
please,
military. I know
She
that.
was in the military. She's also a person of color. She is Pacific Polynesian, I think they're called, for Hawaiians.
Is she?
Yes, she's a person of color.
I didn't even know that.
Yep.
There you go.
So she person of color. She's a woman who has served in the military.
Mm.
I think she did two tours.
Really, like in Middle East? Or?
Yeah, in the middle, I think she did one near Syria, another one in Iraq, but I could be wrong.
Wow.
She's done a few podcasts with Joe Rogan, so I've kind of learnt a lot about her from that.
I didn't even know. I actually have not seen her, so I need to brush up
So
on
she's
that.
got one just with herself, another one with her and Jocko Willick, who is a former Navy SEAL and just all around fucking badass and top bloke.
Okay.
I love having him on Instagram because now every morning he'll post a photo of his watch and it's 4:30 in the morning. So I'm like, if I'm not up at 4:30, I'm a piece of shit. He's making the days, bitch, and I'm doing nothing. So I usually slept into about 5:36. So now I've started getting up close to around 4:30 to 5. I'm not quite at his level yet, but
that's fucking awesome.
but no, he's a really smart guy, which I think every Navy SEAL is.
You got to be, don't you?
You gotta be able to look at those situations really fucking intrinsically and break down all the different variables, which is I think something that we should talk about on a different podcast.
Yeah,
But-
you like I was speaking for Australia. One of my good mates is a Navy. I believe the role is called Navy diver, but it's the equivalent, and it's just
So the people that will dive down, they'll kind of disarm like bombs and stuff there in the ocean.
He's pretty much
So-
done everything.
Does a lot of training up in Sydney Harbour. Do you remember?
Mm.
We're going off track here a bit. This has got nothing to do with culture, identity, or politics. But do you remember?
He's Irish, so it's
I
fun.
want to say sort of late 2000s.
Mm.
The Navy diver got attacked by bull shark in Sydney Harbour.
Really?
Yeah, you don't remember that?
No, I actually don't.
Right, look up. Anyone listeners, look it up. I've seen a few things on it. So now he's got I think one leg's pretty fucked.
Mm.
He's lost a hand,
Jesus.
but he's got an attachment, so he just chucks something on there, so he can just attach it to a bar and still do all these pull-ups and shit.
Wanking, yeah.
Wanking, yeah, the size fits. But no, so he was a Navy diver, and they were doing trials in the Sydney Harbour.
Mm.
Got attacked by a bull shark. It made it was all over the news when it happened. You're older than me, and I fucking remember this news.
That's it. That's
Then
the
again,
thing.
you are Tasmanian. So.
Yeah, we got short memory, but that surprised me. That's something's never come across my radar at all.
Yeah, no, look it up. I cannot remember his name, but it's very interesting when you go through it because he kind of breaks down everything that he was kind of feeling at the time, and
Jesus Christ.
I think it's something that I think for anyone that's been in any sort of threatening situation, even if it's just at a bar, some guy's been a bit of a dickhead. Initially, you're kind of in shock. You're just like, this isn't fucking happening.
I'm just trying to think.
Even at work, I had this bloke call through. We work in a call center, sales. This bloke call through. Got a bit of rapport with him. He's a very blokey bloke. Just wanted to cancel the service. Oh, no problem, mate. Look, I've just got to go through a couple of things here. I don't really care why you're cancelling. But why are you cancelling the service? Oh, my wife died. All I could do was, all right, I don't have any more questions. We'll get that cancelled off.
That's extremely confronting.
And he was just like, you're not allowed to laugh at that. I fucking laughed and popped him on hot. So when
That is a very
But
particular situation.
I was just confronted with something. I don't know how to fucking react here.
Some people, they say people deal with grief in different ways. People deal with situations in different ways.
For me,
It's not you didn't think it was funny. You just didn't know what to do. It's like,
I kind of felt it was a bit funny because he did not act like his missus had just fucking died.
that's because he was dealing with it in
Mate,
a way that
He made some fucking jokes where it was like, okay,
Nah.
you're gonna go and try and pick up, get some nose beers.
man.
No.
Like the statement, if you don't laugh, you cry, is very fucking true. So if he's going through something
Yeah.
and he's making light, doesn't mean that the feeling's not.
And I mean, hats off to him. He said, "Look, it's not something that you should laugh at." I've got no problem with him saying that.
Huh.
But he didn't give me no grief afterwards. I think I laughed again. He didn't say anything.
If he's laughing,
He wasn't laughing, but he didn't give me grief about laughing because it was just an instinctual kind of, I've just fucked up. I'm not getting a sale off you.
no, like the thing is, do you think he killed her?
Well, he did say that we may need to suspend his service for 25 to life. So, no, I think he's fine.
Sounds like typical fucking contract shit.
Probably just fell down the stairs.
Did he ask you? He's just like, I've got to send my phone back. Can you send me a prepaid satchel that could fit a fucking corpse in it? Sorry, I mean a lot of phones.
Do you want a lot of phones or a corpse? I got both.
It's okay, I'm going to put the phones inside her. Oh, fuck. Did you say calls recorded, mate?
No, he said he didn't want to record it, so we're not allowed to listen to it.
Oh,
Fuck
cool.
you, cops.
Oh, God.
But
we really have lubricated the passage to hell, haven't we?
mate, it's not even, sometimes it's a stairway to heaven, sometimes it's a stairway to hell, sometimes you're going down a bit of a water slide. Me, it's just a fucking hole's appeared and I'm down to the fucking 7th gate,
I
9th
suppose
gate.
stairway to heaven, fuck, it depends which way you're walking, doesn't it?
Stairway to heaven. I mean, fuck. You live on the 2nd floor and I want to fucking murder you and everyone in the world just trying to walk up to your apartment. You think I want to take a fucking stairway to heaven? Send me to hell. Give me the fucking elevator. Let's go.
I mean, I assume you just kind of drop down.
If I don't need to make any effort, I'm in.
So you're lucky you don't believe in hell. It's fine.
Well, it's not that I'm lucky. It's that I'm Jewish. I'm one of the chosen people. We don't have hell. All Jews go to heaven.
you're in hell right now. You just don't know it yet.
Mate, I'm looking at you. Of course I know I'm in hell.
For anyone that's actually listening, fucking, I'm sorry, but I did just pull out my 6-foot dildo.
And I did just lick my lips in anticipation.
What were we talking about? God, can you imagine listening to a podcast where anyone actually had a structured conversation with different topics that they wanted to focus on?
Yeah, it's pretty much every podcast I've ever listened to other than ours, which is why you should listen to us. We don't just follow the norm. You're different, we're different. You're an individual. Don't follow the pack. Listen to Six Pack Deep.
Also, he just stabbed me twice.
I got an erection.
Yes, that's what he stabbed me with. Anyway, well, how long have we been fucking talking anyway? I feel like we've been talking fucking 2 days.
It's been about half an hour, my friend. But
Yeah, that's what I said.
I think we're going to leave it there. This has been a very drunk podcast. I'm going to vent here quickly. Jacob left me. He decided to go to a company that pays better. The
Yes.
son of a bitch. But it's okay.
And
He's changing companies again. We're both going to a new company. We'll be working the same hours. The podcast will be coming out at more regular times, every week, every 2 weeks, hopefully.
every day, son.
But until that happens, thank you for listening to Six Pack Deep. Don't forget to give a listen to Six Pack Deep MMA show with Ted. It's been a pleasure, and you stay safe, fuckers.